What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 38, and we start today's episode off travelling to Naples in Italy to take on Napoli at the Stadio San Paolo in the Europa League. And of course, we come on the back of that very disappointing loss to Stoke City in the Premier League, and the fourth email out of 4 losses where the board have came to us and said, hey, you know, what's going on? Things aren't working right now. So, you know, we came into this game, and I'll be honest, I was really fearful. I mean, not just because Napoli are currently top in the Europa League group with 6 points, and we're in second with third, but of course, Feyenoord should probably beat Torpedo Moscow and could go back into the second for this game. And Napoli's squad is really strong. We expect them to win this league and, win this group, and, you know, this will be the hardest fixture for us, really. I was really fearful because I didn't know whether I might lose my job at the end of the game, you know, because of course the board have given us 4 very harsh emails, and in my opinion undeserved emails, you know, talking about how we're not getting a job done right now. So we came into this game and the board said they wanted to see changes, and I made changes. I changed formation, I went to a 4-5-1, so Brown today will be the sole striker. Craig Gardner came in, Claudio Yacob was going to be our holding midfielder, Vestergaard came in for the player who's a little bit out of form right now in Nastasic. So we took on Napoli, and I did make a lot of changes for this game like the board wanted, and for this game, you know, I wasn't parking the bus, but I was trying to lower the tempo and really suck the life out of this game and make it hard for Napoli to break us down. I didn't want to drag too many bodies out of position. Napoli did have a couple of chances in the first half here, 2 chances in quick succession, but they missed them, and not really much was happening in this game. In the 61st minute, just past the hour mark, Napoli's frustration was beginning to show as Jorginho found Rondon back to Jorginho. Jorginho found Dresmo Tens, who struck it from range, and that's why Napoli were getting frustrated. Instead of working the ball into the box like they were doing in the first half, now they were shooting from range. They were getting very aggressive and very frustrated, knowing that they couldn't really break us down. And here you see a real let-off for us here as I gave the ball away with Delph. It came straight to the man, I think it was Jorginho there, I'm not sure, but the shot was taken, and thankfully for us, Vestergaard, the big giant, gets in the way, and thank Christ for that, seriously, because I think that ball was going into the top corner. So real let-off, and no real surprise Delph is saying thank you to Vestergaard there, even though it was my fault controlling him. And it's still 0-0. But in the 82nd minute, it was still scoreless in this game. We hadn't had a single shot, and Napoli had a good chance here, and Rondon wastes it as he drags the shot wide, and the game does finish Napoli 0, West Bromwich Albion 0, and that is a very good point. We get a clean sheet as well in Naples, something I didn't think would happen at all, and Napoli were restricted to long range shots in this game, you know, long balls into the area, which of course with Vestergaard's height, that was never going to work for them. At 6'6", he won the majority of the headers. Feyenoord were held to a goalless draw against Torpedo Moscow, which means after 3 Europa League games, the table is like this. I forgot to show you, the table's like this currently right now. Napoli were in top with 7 points, us in second with 4, Feyenoord in third with 4, but we're ahead on goal difference, because I think goal difference is done in the game. In this game, the goal difference happens in the Europa League for some strange reason. And the 4th team is Torpedo Moscow with 1 point. So currently we are still going through in the first half of the group. Of course, 3 games to go, which will be difficult. Away in Feyenoord is going to be hard, but that's a very good point. And the glass is half full in that game, you know, it really is. That's some optimism I'm taking right there. You know, usually I'm quite pessimistic, and I'm, you know, I say things which are really pessimistic and negative, but I'm being optimistic here. You know, that is a very good point away in Naples. Yes, I could focus on the fact we had 0 shots in that game and didn't, you know, look very threatening going forward. Obviously created absolutely nothing, but to get a draw away in Naples and a clean sheet as well, the glass is half full. We did well, and I'm pleased that we stuck to our game plan and got what we needed. And so for the following game against Everton here, we did revert back to the 4-4-2, and we did decide to be a bit more adventurous. But Everton, of course, making a very good start to the Premier League, as you were seeing by the table. They're a good side as well, and I still had, you know, a similar game plan. You know, even though I pushed up a little bit and had more players coming forward, it was still a little bit of a lower tempo type of game. You know, I wasn't going to bomb bodies forward. I was going to try and pass the ball around a lot more, and, you know, try and, you know, ease off the pressure against Everton and not basically let them play through us. And Carl Jenkinson, believe it or not, had the first couple of chances of the game from these corners, which were headed away. His first shot was saved by Howard, and his second one went wide. And in the 17th minute, Berahino gets on the ball and finds Brown today. We come forward here with a nice little back heel. He finds Fabian Delph. Delph plays that wide towards Wellington Silva. We go on the counter. It's a great chance for Silva. He goes through one-on-one, but Tim Howard makes a brilliant save. What a stop that is by the American goalkeeper, and it is still scoreless. So we were going on the counter every now and then, yes, but we weren't bombing too many bodies forward, which meant that when Everton came forward and tried to attack, we had bodies there to deal with their threat. And as James McCarthy shoot. Foster makes a good save and we get the ball away. Only as far as Kevin Morales here, but the tackle is made and we do eventually clear the ball. So still West Brom 0, Everton 0. That's how the first half would finish. And in the second half, James McCarthy collects the ball. We give it away with Carl Jenkinson. Romelu Lukaku finds Leighton Baines. Baines finds Kevin Morales, who strikes it. But just like in the game in Naples, in Italy, we were restricting our opponents to long-range shots and they weren't working. And in the 63rd minute, again, we go on the counter. It's Brown today coming forward, the man who was in such good form this year, but I completely messed up the finish, put it straight at Tim Howard, and it was still scoreless. And 5 minutes later, Everton are through again. Leighton Baines finds Aidan McGeady. McGeady picks out Darren Gibson on the edge of the area. He finds Ross Barkley, who strikes it, and Foster makes the save, and we get the ball away for a corner. So still West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 0. And from the corner, it's the Belgian Kevin Morales who ends up crossing the ball into the centre, looks for Samuel Eto'o, it's headed down, and the strike by Gibson on the volley goes over the bar and out for a goal kick. So still West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 0. And from this corner here, I gave it to Gail Bigaramana, who was a rare player for us in this game, barely ever plays, but he came on off the bench. He picks out Aaron Creswell, who finds Jenkinson. Jenkinson strikes it from range for the 3rd time in this game. He looks threatened from range, but Tim Howard makes an absolutely brilliant stop to stop the former Arsenal man from getting his first goal for the club. What a brilliant save that is by Tim Howard. And you know, both goalkeepers in this game were in very good form, and that's why I wasn't surprised that with 1 minute to go it was still 0-0. And as Ross Barkley finds Darren Gibson here, the former United man, he picks out Samuel Eto'o and it's another good save. Ben Foster turns the ball behind for a corner, and again the game finishes West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 0. So 2 goalless draws in a row. And yes, I know I'm usually pessimistic, and you know, most times I would sit here and say, oh man, that's 3 games where we haven't scored a goal and you know, we got away with that, really, Everton looked really threatening. But I'm being optimistic today. I'm being optimistic in this commentary and in general right now. You know, that's 2 games against 2 very good opponents where we've restricted their game plan to basically long range shots and sort of half-hearted efforts, and you know, we've kept 2 very good clean sheets, and those are 2 really good points. You know, that's what I'm saying. We had 2 good game plans, we stuck to them, and we got the results we wanted. You know, in both games I thought the draw would probably be the best results we'd get, and we got them. You know, 2 clean sheets as well. You know, something I found clean sheets very hard to get last year. I made a lot of mistakes defensively and I gave away so many silly goals, but in those 2 games, very, very good performances, and I'm happy with the 2 clean sheets, I really am. So 2 decent results. The glass is half full. I'm being optimistic, and there you go. But still, the 3rd and final game of today's episode is against Sheffield Wednesday here in the Capital One Cup, a side who I possibly could have been managing at the start of this career mode had you guys voted for them in the poll. And Sheffield Wednesday, the Championship side, well, they've got some decent players here and there, but as they come to the Hawthorns, I fully expected us to get the win. And the first chance this game would fall in the 6th minute as Giles Coate collects the ball through the centre here, gets past his man, plays the ball eventually backheels it towards Kieran Lee. Lee collects the ball and finds Lavery, who plays inside towards Stevie May, and his shot goes just wide of the post and out for a goal kick. So Sheffield Wednesday with the first chance of this game, very good chance there which they missed. And in the 25th minute we come forward ourselves here with Julian Green down the right hand side, takes on his man and crosses the ball in, and we almost got so lucky there. It took a deflection, it hit the post, and eventually it was cleared away, and Craig Gardner's shot was blocked and put out for a corner. So still West Bromwich Albion 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, but of course, unlike the last 2 games, this is a game where we really did want to score some goals, you know, because no disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, but there's a little bit of a gap in class between the likes of Sheffield Wednesday and Napoli, and you know, really we kept on coming forward. We knew eventually we'd get a really good chance, and we got one here because Craig Gardner won us a penalty. And again, at first I didn't think it was a penalty of Zayate, but as you'll see on the replay, the reason it was given, because even though Zayate won a lot of the ball, it was given because he came through the man Craig Gardner first. He wraps his legs around Gardner's, and that's why it's a definite penalty. So right decision by the referee, even though, you know, at first glance it probably wasn't a penalty. On the replay you can see exactly why it was given. So penalty to us. Craig Gardner is very good at penalties. He won the penalty and he scored a penalty in the last Capital One Cup tie against Middlesbrough. That's why I let Chris Brunt take it, and Chris Brunt scores. So I'm sure I would have regretted it had I missed the penalty. And Kieran Westwood, the Irish goalkeeper, did dive the right way, but thankfully for us, Chris Brunt did find the back of the net, and I'm really relieved, because had I missed that I would have been furious that I didn't let Gardner continue his run, and instead Brunt did take the penalty and he scored. So West Brom 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, and we take the lead just before half time. And in the 54th minute here, Sheffield Wednesday have a corner, they cross the ball into the box, and it goes up in the air, and Kim Seung-yu, well, he was unconvincing against Middlesbrough. I don't exactly know what type of goalkeeping that is, but that's some very, very lucky goalkeeping in my opinion. He just about gets away with some terrible handling, but from that we go on the break, and Jason Davidson plays a brilliant crossfield ball to Danny Ings, who goes through one-on-one, and Danny Ings slots it into the bottom corner, and makes it West Brom 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. So in the 56th minute, we're now cruising, and surely on course for the win, which will take us through to the next round, as Danny Ings gets mobbed by his teammates here at a wet Hawthorns pitch. And yeah, it was a brilliant ball by Jason Davidson, but huge relief really, because I don't know what my goalkeeper was doing there. He got very, very fortunate, and you know, from that, you know, Sheffield Wednesday easily could have scored had he put more pressure on the goalkeeper and levelled the game, but instead we got on the break and made it 2-0. Craig Gardner had the last chance of the game, but he was denied by a brilliant stop by Westwood, and we did win the game by 2-0. So yes, it was a Sheffield Wednesday side who we should have beaten regardless, but it was a backup side. We got the job done. We made it through to the quarterfinals of the Capital One Cup, and a very good performance. So 3 games, 3 clean sheets, very, very good performance in all games, and I'm pleased with how things have bounced back after that disappointing loss to Stoke. But as always guys, a big thank you for watching the video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed the episode, then please do leave a like, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.